Let's bring in the Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives. This is Republican David Ralston. Mr. Ralston, thank you so much for being with us. What is the state legislature trying to pass today? I know you have about 11 days left in your session. What do you think can and should be done in this time?
Well, 11 days is not very much time, Dana, as you know. What we're trying to do, the one thing that we're required by law to do is to pass a balanced budget. I don't have to tell you that since we suspended the session back on March 16 up until today, there's been a substantial impact on the financial condition of the state. So we're going to be going through a lot of budget cuts and trying to get to a new number at which we can balance the budget. But the other item that's a priority to me and to many members is passing a hate crimes bill here in Georgia. We're one of only 4 states in the nation that does not have a hate crimes law on the books. I think that is a shame. I think it's a tragedy. I think that it was all brought home for us by the Ahmaud Arbery case down in Brunswick, Georgia, when we saw the video of this act of evil on the part of these guys who chased him down like an animal, hunting an animal, and then shot him with a shotgun at point blank range. To me, that's hate. And so I think it's time.
So I saw that you've called that a moral necessity to try to get that done. Let me ask you, do you feel that the legislature is being responsive to the people of Georgia at this time? They're even marching today after this other shooting that happened over the weekend of Rashad Brooks, and there's action that is being taken against those officers now, and of course they should get due process. But do you feel like the state legislature, led by the Republicans, can help meet this moment in a bipartisan fashion?
We absolutely can. The hate crimes bill that I mentioned was actually passed in March of 2019 by the House of Representatives. It was passed in a bipartisan way. I pushed for it. It's been in the state Senate now for 465 days without as much as a committee hearing. And I told the members of the House today that if we leave here this session without having passed that bill, that's going to be a stain on this state that we'll never wash away. Georgia is better than that, and that's why we need to pass this bill, and that's why I've called on the Senate to act, because the people need to see that we can act in a bipartisan way to pass a good piece of legislation.
What is your view on the latest case of Rashad Brooks over the weekend in Atlanta?
Very troubling to see an individual be shot in the back. Obviously, the GBI is investigating that. I have great confidence in our GBI. They did some amazing work on the Arbery case. I'm going to ask for patience while they complete their investigation. As your prior guest talked about, it is important that we get all of the facts out there. I think that we don't need to rush to judgment, but by the same token, it was very, very disturbing to see this individual, who obviously was not posing a threat to the officers, be shot in the way that he was. It's very troubling.
It is. Well, we'll be in touch with you, and especially as you try to move through that hate crime legislation in Georgia. Thank you, Georgia Speaker of the House, David Ralston.
Thank you, Dana.
And